Welcome, everybody. Thanks so much for being with us here today. We have a very special guest for today's webinar. I want to introduce you to Ryan Hughes, the Director of Retirement Accounts at Titan Bank. Thanks for being with us, Ryan. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. And guys, if you've been on these webinars before, we like to get started with a quick tech check. We want to make sure that you can see us and hear us clearly. You should see a chat bar over on this side of your screen. If you can see us and hear us, just let us know that everything looks good and sounds good, and maybe tell us your name and where you're joining us from. I know that I saw some berries coming to us from Belize, all the way from Belize. We've got Gary and Marty and David and Olga. Thanks, Olga, for letting us know everything looks good. From New Jersey, awesome. Hope that you're still getting a little bit of warm weather. It hasn't gotten too cold there yet. Just let us know where you're joining us from. We have clients and attendees to these webinars that join us from all over the country and clearly from all over the world. So it's really awesome to have you guys with us. And what we're going to be discussing today is, well, you saw the title of the webinar. It's Ask a Banker. And this is really an opportunity for us to pull back the curtain and sort of find out the deepest, darkest secrets from the bankers. What's going on in their minds? How do they view these solo 401k and IRA LLC bank accounts? You know, many of you are already clients of Neighbors Group, and you might have already experienced yourselves that if you go to a normal bank and you try to open a bank account for your solo 401k or your IRA LLC, maybe they flat out reject you and tell you they can't support that type of account. Maybe you've heard, well, we need to talk to compliance, and then they put you through the ringer for a couple of weeks, and then they come back and tell you they can't support the account. Maybe they ask for a mountain of paperwork that really has nothing to do with your solo 401k or IRA LLC. I've even had people tell us that the banker said the solo 401k is illegal. So, finding a good banker, one that really understands how the solo 401k works. How does the structure work? What is your role as the trustee and signer of your own solo 401k? Having that relationship ready to deploy is really, really important because you don't want to get mired down in just trying to get a bank account open. The fun part of having a solo 401k is being able to invest with it. So what we want to do today is talk with Ryan a little bit about why Titan Bank even decided to support these types of accounts, and also learn a little bit about what Titan Bank has to offer for solo 401k and IRA LLC clients. They're really at the cutting edge of technology. They have an awesome new online platform that makes it really easy to get an account open. Ryan's going to take us through all that. So Ryan, before we get started, because I know you have a presentation prepared for us, I just kind of want to get your take on things as the banker. Like I mentioned, so many banks just flat out refuse to work with solo 401k account holders. They've never heard of an IRA LLC. They have no idea how to support this type of account. Why did Titan decide to, welcome solo 401k account holders?
That's a good question. So when we got in the business about 9 years ago in the solo K business as a banker, and it really came from our present CEO of the bank. So it wasn't an afterthought. He actually opened a solo K and had a difficult time because he didn't, with compliance, he didn't really want to bank with his, where he owns the bank. So he went out and tried to get one and realized he couldn't. And after that, he talked to this particular provider, and they were said, you really should get into the business. You understand it. And so we, that's when we started accepting them on a real small scale. And then over the years, we've grown. And then probably in the last 2 years, when I took over the division, is really when we started ramping up and getting the online systems, the processes, offering some of the loans we can discuss. And that's so the biggest part is it wasn't an afterthought. It was something that we truly thought was a need and a benefit to the customers. And, there's a little more compliance, but we understand it. And being that, the president actually has one, when the regulators come in, we're able to explain to them and show them how we're doing it, why we're doing it, and how we do our, how we know our customers, because we onboard customers everywhere, all over the country. So that's really how it started.
That's awesome. So that's pretty special that the president of the actual bank, has a solo 401k, so he can speak from a place of experience. I know you have a solo 401k as well. So that really speaks volumes when the people at the bank actually have the account that they are opening for people, or they're familiar, just like you said, they're familiar with the structure, so that if I have a solo 401k, which I do, and I want to go to the bank and say, okay, please wire the funds to this real estate company, for example, you're not going to tell me it's illegal. I'm not allowed to do that. Somebody else has to manage my 401k. What proof do I have? You already understand these checkbook control accounts.
Sure. Absolutely.
Cool. Well, I know that, Ryan, one of the big things that Titan's been working on for a while is a brand new online platform and online application system. And I was hoping that if you have a few moments, you can take us through maybe like a sample application, just kind of walk us through how this online application process works. This is something that, for many of our 401k account holders, if you're on here, you've probably experienced this with brokerage accounts. God bless them. They make you mail in stuff like it's 1996 or fax things into them. Nothing's online. And, it's really not their fault. Financial systems move about as quick as molasses. So the fact that Titan has this really cool cutting edge online application process is really neat. So Ryan, would you go ahead and share your screen, and so you can walk us through this online application process?
Sure. Absolutely. Let me do that. All right.
Perfect.
Everyone see it, hopefully?
Looks great.
All right. So I'm going to look away. I'm on a different screen, so I'm not being rude and not looking at everyone. So what I have here, it's an online application, and we can send you a link, or neighbors can provide a link to you. And either way, whatever is convenient. So that way you can do everything you can do on your smartphone, your desktop. And the only thing we really need is, once neighbor sets up your trust, your adoption agreement, we need the copy of that. We do need it signed, and a copy of your driver's license. So before you start the application, try and have those handy so that you're not having to go back into the application. It's not a problem if you need to resume, but it's better if you just have it all at your fingertips when you start.
So minimal paperwork. You just need the signed adoption agreement that we provide to you as a part of you'll sign it as your own trustee for your account holder. And I'm talking to you, the viewers. Ryan already knows about all this stuff. So if you have a solo 401k account with us, you already have the adoption agreement in your 401k plan documents. Sign that, and then that's what you'll need to upload as part of this application. Ryan, are electronic signatures okay?
They are. Agreement? They are okay. And what I recommend, since the adoption agreement is about 72 pages, just sign the signature page, and then you can upload that separately in the actual application. And I'll show you that.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you.
So I kind of pre-filled some of the stuff in so we can just speed up some of the process here. But this is your trust account. So I just put Ryan Test, maybe 401k or whatever the name of your plan is that you establish. And then you'll go ahead and start there. And then of course you'll put in the EIN for the trust. So that's the EIN for the trust, not for the business, the sponsoring business. So that's for the actual trust. The website's optional, phone number, the address for the trust. And that's typically what you file with neighbors, whatever address you use there. It's usually your physical address. Is that correct, Rachel?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. So we do give an option for a mailing address different. So if you want to go ahead and have a PO box, we do give that option for you. So that's just an extra option if you would like. We do have standard questions, banking questions. You're not doing, you're not out there doing online gambling or any
no money laundering allowed. You're not
Yes.
JP. Morgan or Wells Fargo. You can't get away with it like they can. Oops, did I say that?
So this is also just kind of goes over your domestic activity. This is just, really an estimate. It's not, it doesn't, we don't hold you accountable for it. It's just more of just getting us an idea of what type of investment you're doing. If it's 25,000 or 100,000, you just use it as an estimate. International. Oh, go ahead.
If I said, I'm sorry to interrupt, Ryan. So you said monthly deposit activity, and these are standard. They call them KYC questions, guys. They're called Know Your Customer. All banks are required by law to gather information about their account holder to make sure that they are, a worthy account holder, that they don't have any bad stuff in their history and stuff like that. And Ryan, what you're saying is, like, let's say I'm just starting with my solo 401k from scratch. I think I'm going to do 0 to 25,000 in monthly activity. If I do 26,000, it's not like you shut down the account. You're just looking for best practices or general best estimates as a new account holder, right?
Correct. And it's a KYC, know your customer, like you said. It's, BSA, whatever whatever all these acronyms that bankers have. And so that's strictly for us when we get our audit. They come in. We just had them in here a couple of weeks ago. And just so they know that we actually know our customers, because we don't have the opportunity to meet you in person like a typical big bank that you might walk into.
Got it.
So I have these pre-filled at 0 to 25. That's pretty typical, but we do get larger amounts. International, we do have international capability as well. So if you're doing international wires, we do support that for these accounts. And then also you just choose what asset class you're looking for. So real estate, tax liens, whatever it is. Just the majority of your actual investment. So,
and if I choose real estate, but I'm also buying stocks and bonds, that's okay, right? Because I'm just selecting one here for the application. It's okay to do multiple. Okay, awesome.
Absolutely. It's the great part about a solo K, it's your account. All we're doing is providing you the tools, and you go out there and you invest. Like I said, obviously, as long as it's not illegal, we don't really police or tell you what you can and can't do in terms of the investing.
Perfect.
So, all right. So this is, I'll continue there. And now this box here, this is an option. And some Rachel, I know some of your customers, they do the special purpose LLC for, if they're investing in rentals or whatever.
Yep.
And so we do give that option for you as well. So you can go in here and put an actual special purpose LLC, which would be a subsidiary of the trust. I'm not going to fill that out for this, for our practice run, but this is absolutely available if you want to go ahead and have two different accounts, one for your trust and one for your LLC.
And that's under one login?
Yes, it is. It's one login for,
awesome.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Now this gives the option of how many trustees. Normally it's 1 or 2, but we do give an option up to 4 trustees. If you need more, we can add them, but typically there's not more than 4. So I'm going to go ahead and just
talking about trustees, not different bank accounts, right?
Correct. These are trustees. So this is strictly the owners of the trust. So
Perfect.
you're beneficial owners of the trust. Yes. And it explains a little more detail what we're looking for. So I'm going to say I'm the signer of the account. I have control of the account because I'm the only signer. So if there's multiple signers, we only give one person with control of the account. So you have to choose if there's two people on the 2 trustees, one has to be in actual control of the account.
Okay.
Doesn't really matter who, just we have that as we have to have that in the system.
Okay, perfect. And, just as a quick pause here, I see that Olga wrote into the chat with us. We opened the original solo 401k trust account with a bank 8 years ago, and just a short time back tried to add a spouse account and were refused. So this is really cool that you have already built into the application process, like, hey, we get it. Sometimes it's you and your spouse that are co-trustees on this plan. And we often recommend for our clients, look, if both you and your spouse are participants, trustees in the plan, if you're both going to have money in the plan, it's a good idea to have a bank account for each of you. It makes your record keeping a lot easier. So that's great that you already have this built into the application process.
Yes, absolutely. You can always have the separate accounts. Sometimes, like you said, a spouse you'll have one with 2 accounts, the other one with 2. One will be a Roth, and one will be a traditional, whatever the case is. Absolutely. So this, you put the information in here, just this is all your personal information for the trustee, your driver's license, either state ID, driver's license, or passport. We just need one of the 3. And we prefer it to be, not, unexpired if you can. If there's a situation with COVID where your DPS is not open, try and get us that information, and we'll typically be okay opening it, and then you can get that to us normally within 30 or 60 days of the account opening. And then Rachel, this is what you're talking about. So it has Ryan Test, which is the trust account, and this is you're talking about number of accounts.
Okay, love it.
So this is where you can choose how many accounts you would like.
And it looks like down below, is that where you're putting in names, like nicknames on your account? So if you have 2 accounts, so you could put, Ryan 401k Roth or something like that?
Correct. Absolutely. That's where you would put the Roth or traditional or, whatever
After tax.
nickname. You got it. Absolutely.
Perfect. And it says free checks are available, and you also can get a debit card on each account. Is that right?
Yeah. So if you want a debit card, we provide you all the tools. Some people do, some people don't with Solo Ks, but you absolutely can. And we rolled out recently 80,000 ATMs across the country. So it's a Money Pass ATM. So you can use those at all the Money Pass ATMs.
Cool. Okay. Awesome.
So they're in most major cities. All right. So below this is a wire pin. Whenever you put in that, make sure you know it, because that's your wire pin. You can't send a wire without it. So we can reset it for you, but just, if it's after hours or something, try to remember that wire pin. And then you'll just upload your documents. I talked about the actual adoption agreement, and then you can do your driver's license, and it tells you what we need updated or uploaded. So signed adoption agreement and the color copy of your driver's license, state ID, or passport.
Perfect.
So I already uploaded documents there. And then also there's additional document if you need to upload the signature page for the adoption agreement.
Awesome.
Okay. And you hit continue, and then you'll put in, let's see. So neighbors. And then continue, and then you'll be able to review the information you put in, so you can review everything, make sure it's all accurate. Just shows you everything we put in. And then once you hit submit, it'll let you know the application is submitted.
And it looks, Ryan, about how long does it take once someone submits the new application? About how long does it take for the account number to be assigned and the account to be officially open?
So normally we get them done the same day. Just depends when it's uploaded. At least we get the account numbers established, and then we send out an actual DocuSign for you to e-sign. So we'll establish the account, and internally our goal is, and then our next step is where we're going to actually issue account numbers within 5 to 10 minutes.
Whoa,
now,
that's awesome.
It is.
That's fast. That's really fast. Well, that's really fast because, I'm thinking about people that are trying to, I have clients now that the tax filing deadline is coming up. And some people, because of stuff that they've got going on, they might be just opening their accounts on October 11th or something like that. And if a typical bank needs, 1 to 3 business days, but it's usually about 3 to get open. If you're saying that the goal is to get it open same business day and sometimes even within like an hour or so, then that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. So in the tax deadline, we can get them open. Now, remember, the problem is once we open them, you don't actually have access to the account right away. It takes about 24 hours to process the system.
Okay.
But absolutely we can receive funds, especially if there's situations where you need to send funds or you need an account number. I have no problem. We can work that out, Rachel. I can issue we can issue account numbers and get them all set up, after the fact, but go ahead and get account numbers assigned to the customers.
Awesome. Yeah, that's really helpful for people that have contribution deadlines they're trying to meet, or like a 60-day rollover deadline. So that's really helpful.
Sure. Absolutely. I was going to show you, there's also, so you do get an email after you complete the application.
Okay.
And I can just kind of show you. Let me know if you can see this screen here.
Yes, I can.
So this is an actual email where you get, it says continue my application. So it just says this is one that someone didn't continue, and then so you'll get an actual email. You click on there and you can actually continue the application.
Okay, awesome. But if the account was being opened, then this would be like where the DocuSign would be, for example, right?
Yes, exactly. So the actual email you get when the application is open, I'll show you. So this is the actual email that you'll get, and it will say review your documents. These are the actual DocuSign documents that we send out. So you click on review documents, and you can see the actual DocuSign. You go in
Perfect.
and and we also do auto wallets on there, which is nice. A lot of banks with COVID and what's going on, they're having to do Zoom calls, they're having to do all these crazy verifications, and it's taken days, sometimes weeks, to get accounts open, just standard business accounts.
Right.
We're not doing that because we do our own backgrounds. We do a little more than normal banks. So the good thing is you do all your auto wallet on our DocuSign, which auto wallets are specific to an actual customer. So it asks you a car you financed, or
That's like that's what the questions they ask you to verify your identity, right? Like you had a 1993 Toyota Corolla or a whatever, and then you choose the questions, and that's how you're basically on the back end verifying that I am who I say that I am, right?
yeah, absolutely. So we do all that up front, and that's why we're able to open these accounts so quickly.
Cool. Awesome. Well, and I know that I'm going to go ahead and close this. Anything else that we should cover on the online application?
That's really it. So once you complete it, no, you're good. So once you complete it, then we'll send you DocuSign, and then within 24 hours, you'll receive an actual welcome email with your account number, ABA routing number, so you can wire funds in, and then we'll send you all your online banking treasury account for for ACH and wires.
Perfect. So the next thing that we're going to discuss here is, well, first we're going to get into a little bit about loans. But before we get into that, you guys have been on these webinars before. You know that nothing that we're covering here is tax, legal, or investment advice. Ryan is sharing his time with us so that we can learn a little bit more about the mind of a banker, and why they do certain things that they do, or what decisions they make for the benefit of their customers and for the benefit of the bank. But anytime we're talking about loans or being in charge of your own money, you need to do your thorough due diligence anytime you're making investments with your 401k plan, and understand that every loan is completely unique. So just because you've got a deal in mind does not necessarily mean that a banker is going to lend on it. And certain banks lend on different types of properties. That's something that we're going to cover with Ryan as well. But just keep in mind, guys, that even though Ryan is going to let us know sort of the breadth of the types of loans, because they offer a lot of different types of loans at Titan, just because they offer all of these loans does not mean that you automatically get them. Okay. So it's important for you to always go through the underwriting and due diligence process with the Titan Bank team, so that way they can make sure that you're really getting the loan that is the best for you. So, Ryan, I know you have a couple of slides for us. I got the scary disclaimer out of the way. And I know you have some slides for us where you're going to walk us through the different types of loans that Titan does. Because get ready, guys, it's more than just non-recourse. They do non-recourse, but they really specialize in working with entrepreneurs and small business owners. So I won't say any more, Ryan. You tell us a little bit about some of the loans that you guys do.
No, thank you. No, we do. So we're a bank, so we obviously can do pretty much every any loan out there. Now every bank has their own appetite for certain loans. We got into the business, like Rachel mentioned. We were more of a commercial banker, so we're probably not really bankers. We got into the business. We purchased a bank. When Jonathan and Carl purchased our bank about 10 years ago, 11 years ago. The bank was around for over 100 years. It was 1907 charter. So they bought it out of the whole meltdown 2008. I'm sure a lot of people remember that. And so, but they were money guys, and big commercial loans. And so that's where they earned a lot of their income and bought the bank. And so we have a really good experience with multifamily and different types of loans. So that's absolutely what we focus on. But the solo K fits in perfectly because everyone has a solo K. Is typically self-employed, or they are, and entrepreneurs. So it's a perfect fit for what we do.
Awesome.
So let me share the slide with you.
Yeah, please.
Okay, let me do that real quick. All right. I'm getting the hang of these meetings.
You're rocking it.
Well, that's good. So I didn't screw up yet, at least.
Okay, and we can see the slides. They look great.
Okay, perfect. All right, so I'm gonna go through here, and let me get to a little bit about Titan. We are FDIC insured, been around over 100 years. I just talked about that. We are 5 out of 5 on bank rate, so we are rated as high as you can be for a bank, and so that just our soundness. We're not in any trouble. We have plenty of our ratio is great on our reserves. So that's just a little bit about Titan. And of course, the self-directed. So we're self-directed, self-directing experts. That's what we focus on. We set up more self-directed accounts that I'm aware than just about anyone out there as a bank. And we do, so we specialize in solo K, understand it. Like Rachel mentioned, I have one. Jonathan, our bank president, has one. So even though we have them, we still can't give any type of advice on, investing, and we won't. None of our team will do that. We just, we will tell you that you may want to check with Rachel before you do that. We'll try to protect you, but we can't tell you what you can and can't do. We'll just, say you may want to check with neighbors before you do that. And of course, you see concept the same day. We already discussed all that. So I did see a question about fees. So this tells you a little bit about the self-directed, and then I'll get into the lending part, Rachel, but I wanted to go ahead and address that fee question. So there are no setup fees. We don't have any minimum deposits. So you can open the account with no money, no setup fees. We have a monthly maintenance fee, but we waive that for 90 days for the neighbor clients. So we give you time to go ahead and get the money into the account. After 90 days, there is a $14.95 monthly maintenance fee, but that's only if the account has less than $1,500. So as long as you carry that, which most people do, it's not an issue. And again, we give you free checks, debit card. You have a full treasury banking system. It's not just some basic system. Some people I know out there, they offer certain accounts. They try to for the solo K, but they're not really. They don't do cashier's check. We'll send a cashier's check overnight for a bid. So there's a lot of benefits that we offer within that
Pause for 1 second. I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's a couple of things that you said there that are I think really worth repeating. So first, on the fees, the monthly fee is waived if you keep $1,500 in the account. And for any of us who are real estate investors, alternative asset investors, it's always a good idea to have cash reserves in your account. So for $1,500, you keep your cash reserve in there. No monthly fees, no setup fees, no minimum. So that's great. The cashier's check is really important. So if people are doing tax liens, for example, or purchasing properties at auction, a lot of times they require a cashier's check. And you said you can overnight a cashier's check to an account holder. Is that right?
Yes, we do. I'm not aware anyone's doing that out there from a bank. We'll actually send it where you tell us to. So we're not going to overnight it to you. We can, but we'll actually send it. If you tell us to go to, you're bidding on a property in Chicago, Illinois, we'll send it to that municipality and direct it, to them. So that's something we do offer.
Awesome.
And a lot of our customers, take advantage of that.
Awesome. Thank you.
It's not free. That is not a free. So that part, it's $15 for us to process those cashier's check, and then whatever the overnight charge. So we do have to have a fee for those because we have to, it takes time for us to do it. So, but it's a great
totally fine for you to be able to get a bid in on a deal that you otherwise might have lost.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let me go ahead. So the non-recourse loans, I'm sure most people are familiar with the non-recourse loans. I have that first because it's directly related to the solo 401ks. We do a lot of non-recourse loans. You can come to me directly on that. So I can pre-approve you. Typically, I get them done the same day or within 24 hours. I try to get them. I know the sense of urgency. So it's real important when you're bidding on a property. Normally, I give you my cell phone to text me, because just when you're out with a realtor on a Saturday or whatever, sometimes they want to hear from the banker. And so I might not be able to get a pre-approval. I'll do my best on those days. So I definitely I know what you're trying to accomplish. So I take the time to make sure, we can issue those for you.
Awesome.
All right. And this is just a little bit about the actual non-recourse loans. So we offer a couple different products. We offer a 5-1 ARM, 10-1 ARM, 10-year fixed, 15 and 20-year fixed. And then there's some guidelines we have in place. And, I put just some of them here. The LTVs do vary anywhere from 40 to 60%. So the loan to value. So you'll need to put down anywhere from 40 to 60%. Depending on the market, we do lend in all 50 states. So that's why we have such a variance, because certain states and areas we're going to be at a much lower LTV just because the lending laws, we don't know the market as well. We are, a federal bank, but we know certain areas better than others. So that's why we have the variance on the loan to values. The big thing I do want to point out, we go to 60,000 loan amount. I've even done 54,000 before, and that's a big deal for non-recourse loans. So that's, a lot of lenders are up to, after COVID hit, they were 150, 200,000. They wouldn't go below it. There's, excessive fees. So that's a big part. We do them, and we're really doing them because you're a customer of ours. We only do it for our Solo K customers. Then of course, I have 1940 and newer. I've done 1900 if they've been remodeled. So reserves required, escrows required. I've allowed some without escrow. So these are just guidelines we have, just some information about the non-recourse loans. Any questions on that, Rachel?
I love it so far. I think it's awesome. And guys, as we covered, each loan, each property is highly individualized. I actually, if you have a loan or a property that you're considering, I have a little contact button you should see at the bottom of the screen. You can fill out that little form. It will go right to Ryan, and that way you guys can discuss your loan. But this is also really interesting, Ryan, what you're about to get into now. Everyone that's got a solo 401k is a small business owner. And so the next batch of loans are very interesting for you to talk about for a small business owner.
Yes, and these are unique. They're very, the best thing about small business loans is they're all different. Every customer is different. Every property is different. So the setup, just depending on what you're trying to do. So I always say it's best easiest just to reach out and say, hey, would you consider this? And then, I can say, yes, maybe, no, send me, I try to start out with the basic information depending on the project. So that way you're not, your customers aren't going through and digging through a bunch of financials and executive summaries. And then, we can tell you pretty much upfront if we can do it or not on the SBA loans or even the commercial loans. And the good thing is our credit, our being the size we are, our credit committee is really just 3 people, and I'm part of that. So we get you an answer very quickly, which is awesome. Which is nice. So this just talks a little bit about Titan. We've done 100 years and tons of loans, all 50 states. I kind of covered that earlier. So business real estate loans, those are just, acquisition loans. You're looking out to go out and purchase a business, typically on SBA. Now, this may or may not relate to SBA, but on the SBA, we do want them to be owner occupied. You have to have at least 50% of the building that you're purchasing as you're occupying it. And that's just some of the rules with the government loans. And so these are great loans, 90% loan to value, 25-year AM. I mean, you're talking, it's, that's crazy because it is government backed. So that's why they're great loans if you can get them. And with those, you can do, anywhere you see there, 250,000 to 5 million. We do working capital, equipment loans. We've done a couple lately, Rachel, especially with the shipments coming in from China or overseas, they're taking a lot longer. So our customers are having to get more working capital because they need to order, 2 or 3 months ahead of time versus, being able to do it, 2 to 3 weeks ahead of time. Construction expansion, same thing. This is, some of the products, same thing under the SBA or USDA, rules. Typically, you can actually go to 10 million on USDA. This says, 250,000 to 5 million because this is more targeted towards like an SBA type loan. And our lending limit is 5 million, Rachel. So if anyone has a loan over 5 million, we can look at those, but typically, our lending limit is 5 million.
Okay.
Any questions on there? The same type terms, 10%, no balloons. You got 25-year AM, which is great. And then of course you also have partnership buyouts. If you're, dentist, doctor, or orthopedic, and you want to buy out someone, you can actually, we love those type loans. Anything in the medical field, veterinarian, we love those type loans. Multifamilies, of course, they don't necessarily fit with SBA, but we do like multifamily projects. You can do storage facilities. We've done some storage facilities. We love those. And you can do those on SBA actually, which is some people don't realize that. We also have done a storage facility on a non-recourse loan as well.
So wait, that's interesting. And I know that this is going to be a very case-by-case basis, so don't everybody get all too excited. But essentially what I'm hearing is that on an individualized case-by-case basis, you may do a non-recourse loan for a commercial property, which I think a lot of banks won't do.
Exactly. I don't know. Well, they might say they do, but they definitely don't advertise it, and they don't have guidelines around it. So I'm not aware. I mean, I'm sure there may be some out there, but not many that I'm
Right.
aware of. So
And I mean,
absolutely.
remember, guys, this batch that we're talking about here is specific SBA loans for your small business, but it's good to know that you have a bank that's familiar with loans that you might need for your small business, construction, acquisition loans, and loans that you might need for your actual retirement plan to be acquiring property, to be able to have all of that under one roof with bankers that understand some of the specific needs, not only of small business owners, but small business owners who also have a checkbook control retirement account is pretty unique.
Oh, it is. And we understand how to title it, how to close it. I mean, that's one thing. My experience before Rachel was, I was 20 years in lending. So I've always done all different types of portfolio lending. So that's the great part is I understand. So, I'm able to give some pre-approvals, which is unique when you're talking to a bank loan officer versus they say, oh, we can do that, but then it goes to the credit committee and it never happens.
Right.
So that typically when I issue a pre-approval, we close that loan. So
that's pretty awesome.
So it's nice to have a bank that backs me up. And if I say we can do something, we're going to do it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then, it's another thing, just equipment loans, they're a little smaller, lesser term, 7 to 10 years. So, that's, if you're having, again, equipment, any type of work. So those are just different type. There's no real estate involved on those. We're not as crazy about them. We will consider them, but typically we want real estate involved. That's just our preference as a bank. That's not required by SBA. That's just something that we like to have.
Okay.
Smaller loan amounts obviously on those as well. That's all I had in the loans.
Love it. Oh, this is great. And we've actually had some great questions already start pouring in. So I'm going to start with those. The first question that we have from Charles is, does the FDIC $250,000 protection apply to the 401k checking accounts as well?
Great question. And yes, it does.
Awesome. Perfect. Good to know. Okay. Next question comes from Jim. I have another bank account for the 401k. Once I set up a new Titan account, how does the transfer work?
So since it is self-directed, you would initiate the actual transfer. We don't, we provide you the account number and ABA routing number, but you would actually go out and contact your current provider, where the money, your custodian, or wherever your money's at, and have them rolled over to, either wire transfer, not really rolled over, but transferred ACH, or you would have them write a check to the trust. Cool. Important, make sure they make it to the trust, not your personal name.
Good. Yeah, I'm glad that you mentioned that. And Jim, if this is the Jim that I know, and I think I know you, then this bank account that you have is already in the name of your 401k trust. So that means when you have the new bank account with Titan in the name of your 401k trust, you can literally just do an ACH or a wire transfer from one account to another. Remember, your solo 401k is like an umbrella, and you can have multiple depository and custodial and holding accounts underneath it. So as long as the old bank account is titled in the name of your 401k trust, and the new bank account is titled in the name of your 401k trust, the new one with Titan, then it's really just as simple as moving money from the old bank account to the new bank account, and then you can close the old bank account if you'd like.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Okay. Jim, we also, we touched base on your question about the fees. If you keep $1,500 in the account, the monthly service fee is waived. There are no setup fees, no minimum deposit to open the account. This is actually really important because if you've gone to banks that are not familiar with the solo 401k, sometimes they'll tell you they can't open your account without a minimum deposit. But if you're waiting for a rollover check or you're not doing a contribution, you don't have a minimum deposit. And I've literally had bankers who are not familiar with the solo 401k tell a client like, oh, just put $25 or $100 in there. And I'm horrified. Like, there's two ways to get money into a retirement plan. There's rollovers and there's contributions. There's not just like stick money in there and call it a day. So I really appreciate that with Titan because you let people open the account while their rollover check might be a couple days behind or something like that.
Sure. Absolutely. It used to take 2 or 3 weeks. Now it's much more, they're much more efficient. The companies seem to be now than they used to be.
Oh yeah, for sure. When I first did my initial rollover into the solo 401k, this is about 10 years ago, they lost the check. Then they lost the account. Then they said someone accidentally switched my social security number, the last 2 digits, and they couldn't find it. It literally took over 6 weeks just to try to get the rollover check issued. So these companies have come a long way. The industry has grown up a lot. It's lovely. Okay, the next question we have from Olga is: what are the fees for incoming and outgoing wires?
Great question. So 15 for an inbound, 20 for an outbound.
Awesome.
I find that pretty competitive out there. I know, a lot of places are 35, so I feel like we're pretty cheap on that. So.
Okay, next question is from Jay. What is the treasury banking feature?
So the treasury banking, that's our online treasury system. So that's where we say treasury because you have the ability to you log into our cash management. You can do your ACH transfers, wire transfers. That gives you all that capability of a commercial account versus a standard personal account wouldn't have those features.
Got it. So it almost is straddling the line of like a business account, right? Where you're able to do initiate all that stuff online.
Yes.
This isn't a question that we have, but can you tell me, how would I initiate a wire? If I want to do an outgoing wire, do I call Titan? What's the process to initiate an outgoing wire? Let's say I have a real estate closing coming up.
So you'll do it online. So you'll log into our portal and you go to cash management, and there's actually a tab for wire, and you'll go ahead and request the wire transfer. Typically we get them out within 30 minutes to an hour max, but normally we get them out fairly quick. And we do an outbound call. So they have to be done online. We don't do anything. Our insurance doesn't cover us if we take phone call wires. And there's a lot of frauds rampant right now. So I don't want everyone to bear with us. We do outbound phone calls on all of our wires. So we verify that you are actually requesting it.
Perfect. So I go on to my online Titan portal. I initiate the wire through sending a message through the online system, and then someone calls me to verify the wire. Is that right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Absolutely.
Cool. Scott is asking, are there any residential loans that Titan does?
So we really don't do residential loans. Like if you're talking about single family where you're owner occupied type transactions, we don't really do those. Non-owner occupied, we do.
Okay. So the non-recourse for a solo 401k, for example, open for discussion, but not for like if I want to do a primary residence mortgage or something like that.
We can look at it. I just don't know if we're going to be the most competitive because we keep everything in house. We don't sell to Fannie and Freddie and the traditional government lenders. So we're going to base our rate on our rates, not necessarily what's out there in the market.
Cool. Okay, Robert says, I recently opened another bank account with Solera on a recommendation from Neighbors Group. Should I open another account with Titan now? I have accounts at both places, Robert. I think if it's okay for me to just jump in here for a second, Ryan, I think that there's a couple of things that you guys want to keep in mind. So especially right now, so we love Titan, we love Solera, we know the teams, we know the bankers, we believe in what they do. And right now, it's important to make sure that you're really protecting your funds, especially if you're holding on to cash. So having some diversification in a bank account is certainly something to consider. And what you might want to do is have accounts at both places, and maybe your Roth funds are in one place and your pre-tax funds are in another. There's nothing prohibiting you from having multiple bank accounts under the solo 401k plan. And our clients love all of the banks that we recommend. Okay, next question comes from David. Do you need any other collateral besides 20 to 25% down for the purchase of a business? And remember, guys, this is for an SBA loan. So this is not the 401k purchasing a business. This is you as a small business owner acquiring another business. And the question is, do you need any other collateral besides 20 to 25% down for the purchase of a business?
It's a good question. Typically, I don't want it. Each loan is a little different. So there's a possibility we might ask for a little more collateral. We do want, so on SBA loan, we have to get all personal collateral. So we want to get your home. We want to know everything about what you all your assets. So on an SBA loan, we typically want to get all the real estate owned, any businesses, your personal home. We do look at that in terms of what we have for assets. So that should be fine.
So So if you have, David, if you are considering acquiring a business and you want to have this discussion, then click that button down at the bottom of the page to contact Titan. You can fill out the little form, have a discussion with Ryan, and dig into the details of the deal a little bit more to see what might make sense.
Perfect.
Okay, CW says, can the 401k funds be used as a down payment on an SBA loan for acquiring real estate that is occupied by the business and qualify for 504 lending? Let me repeat that because that's a mouthful. Can the 401k funds be used as the down payment on an SBA loan for acquiring real estate that is occupied by the business and qualify for 504 lending? I want to jump in before you kind of tackle the loan part, if that's okay, Ryan.
Sure.
So your 401k funds cannot be used directly as a down payment for a business that you are going to purchase. That would be a prohibited transaction, a conflict of interest, and self-dealing. But CW, let me rephrase your question just a little bit. So you can take a participant loan from your 401k where you can take out up to $50,000 or 50 grand, whichever is less, and then that becomes personal money. So let me slightly rephrase the question and then ask it to you, Ryan, if that's okay. Let's say I take a loan from my 401k. Now I have money. Can that be used as a down payment on an SBA loan for acquiring real estate that's occupied by the business and then qualify for 504 lending?
Technically, yes, that would be okay. So based on that question, that would be okay. I mean, obviously we want to look at the whole transaction, but yes, you could do that.
Awesome. And CW, if this is something that you're considering, if there's a deal that you have in mind, again, you don't want to use 401k money for a down payment on an SBA loan. That would be a prohibited transaction. But if you did the participant loan and then you have access to that capital and then you put that down, if you have a deal in mind, then click that button down below so that you can reach out to Ryan and you guys can discuss the deal. We are coming close to the end of our time here, guys, but we've got a couple more questions that we're gonna address. This next question comes from Emmanuel, and Emmanuel says, "What are the typical interest rates for non-recourse loans?"
It's a good question. Right now they're hovering around low 5s to upper 5s on most of the products. Some of I don't recommend our 30 or 20-year fix, but it's around 7.25. It's a little higher on the actual fixed product. So the 10-year ARM is typically what most of my clients do.
And what is it for the 10? I know we're not holding you to this. I know that
it's around 5.75 now on the 20-year amortization.
Perfect. Okay. So excellent. That's great. CW, good catch. Awesome. Yeah, I figured that there was just that little missing link there. The link to apply to open an account with Titan. The easiest thing, Olga, to do is fill out that short form. Click the button at the bottom of this page. We do have the Titan online application in our knowledge base for clients. You can get to that from your 401k dashboard. Click on the support link in your 401k dashboard. Type in Titan to the search bar and you'll see the online link to the application is right there. Alternatively, an easy way to get it going is to click the button at the bottom of the page, fill out that short form to Ryan. There's a little button where you can say, I'm interested in a solo 401k account, and he'll make sure that you get the online application and walk you through that process. For any clients of ours, if you have questions about this or you need the link to the online application, that's the best way to get that. Okay, we've got one more question we can, I think, address here. So, all right. So from Alana is asking, how does the participant loan work? This is a great question, Alana. Basically, the participant loan is a special feature in the solo 401k where you're allowed to take a tax-free loan from your 401k to yourself, and you can use those loan funds for any purpose. So like CW was talking about, if you needed to have some cash for a down payment on an SBA loan or acquiring a business, if you need to pay off bills, the participant loan allows for all of that. And you can take out 50% of your account value or 50 grand, whichever is less. You have 5 years to pay the loan back. And one thing that's nice is, so let's say you're going to take a participant loan from your solo 401k account that you have at Titan. It's really easy. You would just go on to your 401k dashboard with Neighbors Group. It takes about 30 seconds to generate the loan paperwork. And then you can literally just go on to the Titan online account and transfer funds, electronic funds transfer, do a wire from your 401k trust bank account at Titan to your own personal checking account. Don't put the money in your business account. It goes right to you. It's a participant loan for you as the participant. So the money, or you can write a check, right, from your Titan 401k trust checking account to yourself. And then when you're going to make these loan repayments, the money just goes back the other way. So you're sending money from your personal bank account right into your 401k trust checking account with Titan, or you can do a wire or an ACH transfer to get the funds from the loan from yourself back into the 401k plan.
And Rachel, and we don't need to know about, I mean, you don't need to worry about telling us or giving any paperwork to us. We get that question a lot. I don't need the paperwork. That's on you for your audit purposes.
Yeah, great. I'm really glad that you brought that up. So if you are going to take a participant loan from your solo 401k, again, the paperwork is really easy. You just go onto the little loans link in your 401k dashboard online at your online login for solo401k.com. And you don't need to tell the banker. The bankers do not need to know. They do not approve your participant loans. Remember, with a solo 401k, you're the boss. You're in charge of your own funds. So when you're ready to take that loan, you just complete the little loan paperwork on your 401k dashboard at solo401k.com, and then just send the money. Write a check, a wire from your 401k trust checking account at Titan to your personal bank account. And when you're making those loan repayments, the money comes from your personal checking account back into your 401k trust checking account with Titan. So awesome. We'll do one last call for questions, guys. Ryan, thank you so much for being with us today. It's really awesome to have you and just kind of really get to peek inside the mind of a banker and learn a little bit more about, what you guys are considering as you're opening accounts for clients, as you're putting together all of these different loan features. The fact that, I don't even think that we addressed this, Ryan. Let's say I'm a small business owner. Well, I am. And then I want to have a business bank account, a 401k bank account, and a special purpose LLC bank account. I can do all of those with Titan. They're all on one login because you guys really have designed your bank and your product around being there and being very supportive for small business owners. And the solo 401k is, an extension of small business ownership. So
absolutely. And I want to point out on that, those 3 accounts, it's a total of $1,500. It's not per account. So the great part is if your trust has it and your business doesn't, or whatever, vice versa, we still waive the fee on all 3 accounts.
Okay, that is awesome. That's really good to know. Thank you, because I think a lot of people will maintain, if they're working with a special purpose LLC to buy real estate, for example, they might keep a smaller balance in their 401k if they're largely investing everything into the LLC to then go out and buy properties. So that's really helpful to know in case you guys didn't catch that. If you have multiple accounts with Titan, the $1,500 minimum is an aggregate of all of your accounts. And then that monthly service fee is waived. One more question here. This will be our last question from CW. Is there a way to set up automated repayment of the participant loan? That's something you would just check on your own personal bank account. Sometimes you can set up a recurring ACH transfer or a recurring wire. You would connect your personal bank account with your Titan Trust checking account on whatever repayment schedule you have set up. We usually recommend monthly, but for participant loans, it needs to be at least quarterly. And then that way you'll be able to have the money go right from your personal bank account into your Titan Trust checking account. So guys, if you have questions, if you'd like to learn more about opening an account with Titan for your 401k, your special purpose LLC, your IRA LLC, your small business, if you'd like to learn more about their non-recourse loans or any of their SBA loans that they have available for small business owners, click that button down at the bottom of the page, fill out that short form so that you and Ryan can have a discussion and see what might make sense. And thank you so much for being with us, everyone. Thank you, Ryan, for taking time out of your day to come and hang out with us.
Absolutely. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Have a great day, everyone. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.